Mike Owens here for talkSPORT MMA. And today I'm joined by Robert the Reaper Whittaker, who returns to action Saturday night, UFC Saudi Arabia. Rob, always a pleasure, my man. How are things for you today?
Thank you very much for having me.
First and foremost, as I mentioned off camera, it must have been a turbulent 48, 72 hours. So how are your emotions ahead of the news, the change, and ultimately the fight still being on?
Yeah, no, it's good. Obviously, that couple of hours while we were working what was going on, and my team was working out what was going on, and was a little emotional, But it's good to have another opponent. I'm blessed, and I'm thankful for the UFC and my team organizing the fight, making sure it's like a fight still went through, and Ikram for taking the fight.
Can you give me a kind of walkthrough events of how that plays out? Who you first heard the news from? What was your first reaction? And what is kind of the process of where we're at now with the new booking?
Yeah, more or less. Coach come up to me and said, "Mate, Chimaev's out. It's crazy. We're going to work things out with the UFC, organize a new opponent, just hold tight, more or less." And because they understand what I wanted, that I want to fight. I've
Yeah.
been putting in so much work. I'm lean. I'm fit. I'm already here in Dubai. Like I'm fighting someone, right? So they understand what I wanted to get out of it, but they're just making sure that they made sure that I was looked after on that end. And yeah, Ikram's name popped up. Wasn't really much of a debate. Just give me a guy, get in there and do work. Obviously, it's it's a pain sometimes because I've worked a very specific game plan for Chimaev. 3 months for Chimaev, who's a pretty unique fighter. But it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to roll with the punches.
I did want to ask about that because there is certain similarities between Kamzat's style and Ikram's style. Do you see those, and how much is the preparation that you've put in for this camp for Kamzat translate over to Ikram's style?
I definitely think the skill sets that I worked on with, uh, you know, with the idea of facing Chimaev, they're in the bank now.
Hmm.
I think they're definitely transferable not only to this fight but for the rest of my career. I put in
Yeah.
some really good work, but they're very different fighters. Their approach is very different. The way they strike is very different. So yeah, it is a different fighter. It is a different fight. Some things that I was practicing with Chimaev are no longer relevant, but mate, I'm sure there's no such thing as a wasted skill. So
Hmm.
yeah.
What is kind of the preparation process now, Rob, over the next 7, 8 days? And once you've got that name, do you have enough time to build a game plan in that sense, or is that kind of thrown out the window when this just turned into a more traditional fight, if you will?
Yeah, it's tricky because there's not even a lot of tape on the guy,
Hmm.
right? I hadn't seen him beforehand either. I guess mainly it's just about doing the same thing I always do, and then get in there and trying to lead the fight the way that I want it to, take the fight in areas that I'm strongest in, and just yeah, fight the good fight, fight my fight.
Um, you kind of alluded to it there when we were talking about the walkthrough of events, but was this the only name that was offered to you? And do you keep? You said then about your coach saying that Chimaev was out. Do you keep abreast of the names that are offered, or is it a case of come to me with the name and I'll be somewhere training or getting prepared?
More or less, like there weren't, from my understanding, there weren't any other names thrown out. I
Hmm.
think UFC went through to a bunch of other guys, and it was just too short notice for them or whatever. But I'm sure there's more to it than that. But mate, they understand. They understand what I was here to do. So
How when did you get out to bike? How long have you how much you training camp have you done out there?
probably just under a week.
Oh.
It's just mainly to get used to the time and climatize and whatnot.
How much of a factor is that? Because I know that you fought over in that part of the world before, but how much of a factor is that in preparation?
I do the same thing no matter where I am fighting in the world,
Okay.
whether it's France, whether it's Anaheim, whether it's anybody, right? Anywhere, sorry. Because it's important for me to get on the ground, get over the jet lag, get acclimatized, get adjusted, find my food, get some sessions in locally. So it's this is just how I operate. This is what I how the way that I like doing things. I've had some pretty good success doing it like this. So why change it?
I love it. Um, I feel like you kind of answered this question, but I'm going to ask it nonetheless. Um, obviously the factors of the fight change a little bit with the opponent. I mean, there's a lot of hype around Khamzat's name, clearly warranted, but certainly a lot of hype and a lot to gain from that. Is there a hesitation process in your mind? Do you sit down, whether internally or externally, with your team, and once the new opponent is offered to you, do you consider that, or is it a case of whoever it is, I'm fighting next Saturday? Just give me the name.
Yeah, yeah, they understood what I wanted to do. Like this is how I earn a living. This is my career.
Mm,
This is how I provide for my family. So I'm here to work.
mm.
My team know that. The UFC know that, and they work it out. Everyone's saying that like there's a lot of hype with working fighting Chimaev. Things to be gained and whatnot. And I understand that in some point there's like a little for me to gain, a lot for him to gain. Right? He's going to come out there with nothing to lose. But at the end of the day, it's a fight. It's a fight. You got to mate, winning opens doors. And this guy's going to try and hurt me no less than Chimaev did. And I'm not going to let him do that. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take everything from him.
Do you think we kind of overplay those factors a little bit too much about what's to gain, rankings, all of that? Is that something that maybe my side of the world, the media, leans into a little bit too much, and you guys, the fighters, don't really care about as much?
Nah, because some of the fighters do it too.
True.
The fighters do it too. And I think that's the wrong approach. We're fighters. This is our job. And for whatever reason, while you're fighting, you need to stay true to that. You need to be ready to fight anybody.
What do you feel is on the line, or what do you feel is the biggest thing that you can gain from a win over Ikram?
Mate, just winning. I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose. I want to go in there and I want to bash this guy. That's the plan.
It was kind of communicated that this was the original fight between Hamza and yourself was a title eliminator. Do you feel like a win over Ikram gets you that shot between the winner of TTP and
Mate,
Adesanya next?
I'll get there. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
whether it's this fight, whether it's next fight, whether it's 3 fights from now. It doesn't matter. I'll get there. Winning will get me there, and it's got to stay on focused, stay on task.
I want to bring you back to a fight that we saw a couple of weeks ago, because your last fight, against Paulo Costa, was an absolute barn burner. Paulo's out there throwing spinning wheel kicks. He's coming forward. He's fighting on the front foot. And then a couple of weeks ago, he fights Sean Strickland, and he seems to sit on the back foot. He seems to want to leg kick and try and pot shot from the outside. Were you surprised by Paulo's performance, given how he performed against you in February?
I had to say, I expected more,
to
be honest. But I can't say that it's not because Strickland shut him down. Maybe that's Strickland's style. Maybe Strickland just shut him down in a way that's the version of Costa we saw. But I don't know. I had higher expectations, after fighting him.
Was that so? When you assessed that fight, was that more a case of being impressed by what Strickland could do, or maybe being surprised by what Costa couldn't do?
It's confusion mainly.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what was going on.
Like most of the fans.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure I'll understand it better once I fight Strickland. So,
Do you feel like that fight could be next with a win on Saturday?
oh mate, we're both up there at the top of the game. We're sure to cross paths one day.
100%. Speaking about crossing paths, I mean, it's an interesting one with Hamza, because it feels like at the moment there's only certain locations he can fight in. I know that there's certain restrictions potentially about him entering the US, which obviously limits the dates that he can fight. Do you still have interest in that fight once he is healthy and cleared and all of that?
Mate, I don't really pick my fights. It's more of a thing that
Yeah.
they give me a name and I take it.
I feel like these
it's
questions are
not
somewhat
really.
lost on you, Rob.
Yeah, I don't really focus too much on it, eh?
100%. Dricus Du Plessis, Israel Adesanya, UFC 305. It feels like that's next, although we haven't had the official announcement. I think we talked about this last time we spoke, but how do you see that fight playing out if and when it does?
You know what? I'm going to lean towards Dricus, just pressuring him and making a bit of a dogfight and beating Adesanya that way. I can see that happening.
obviously that's across the Perth card and 305 is obviously at your side, across your side of the world. Would you have any interest in, depending on how Saturday night goes, a backup position against in that fight?
Mate, the only thing I'm focusing on is Saturday night, and then I'm going to go home and spend some time with the family. Go on a bit of a weekend stay somewhere. I don't know, but I'll worry about that then. You know, that's future Rob's problem.
How's number 5?
Crazy, you know, but it's good, mate. It's good. It's the best.
Love it. I want to turn the conversation back to your fight. It felt like when news kind of unofficially broke was from your Instagram post, where you put that kind of compilation video with the title "Anyone, Anytime, Anywhere." I think that was when people started getting an inkling that the original fight may be off. So, with that being said, and in relation to that quote specifically, what's your mentality going into this new fight?
My mentality is just, oh, I'm gonna bash anyone. I don't play this game to beat certain people. I play this game to beat everybody. There isn't a single person on this planet that I think I can't beat.
Mm.
You know, and if there was, then I wouldn't be in this game. That's the mentality that I have. I'm going to go in there against Ikram. I understand the gravity of his skill sets and the danger that he brings to me, but with that danger, it's going to fuel me forward. It's going to fuel me into the predator that I am.
Well, last question from me, Robin, and you can be as brief or as detailed as you like with this one, but I'd really like to get an understanding of your fight day. So I'd like to know, in a perfect world, what happens when you wake up in the morning to when you go to sleep at night next Saturday?
Mate, same thing I always do. Same thing I always do. Just deal with the emotions, loosen up, stay calm, get to the arena, get out there and take his head off. Quick, smart, and you know, tuck myself in a happy chappy.
I love it. Rob, it's always a pleasure catching up with you, my man. Great to see you still in action next Saturday night. Also very grateful that it'll be on our time, so the UK fans can actually get to watch you live rather than having to record or get up in the middle of the night. And have a safe rest of camp, and all the best.
Thank you very much, mate. Take it easy.
Please make sure to like and subscribe for talkSPORT MMA for some more MMA content.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.